Week 3 takes everybody out. The 3-game parlay that nobody saw coming. Jacksonville loses, the Ravens lose, the Cowboys lose. They're out, all right? Been in Vegas a long time, 21 years living here, working in the books. You see these things sometimes from the other side of the counter, even the sharp guys. They didn't see it coming either. Everyone in the Survivor contest, we lose 60% of the people in 1 week. That's after week 3. A lot of football left, not a lot of Survivor contestants left. So, will there be quiet weeks? Of course. There's gonna be weeks where probably a handful, this number of people will get eliminated. The crazy thing about this contest is you can't have a bad week. You can have a bad week in picking games against the spread. You can have a bad week betting and recover. When you have a bad week in this contest, one loss, one bad beat, one missed kick, one bad fumble, turnover, and you're done.
This is the 3rd time I've entered the event. We made it Thanksgiving one year, and that's the furthest we made it.
You know, people reacted to 73% of the entries being eliminated in the first 3 weeks, with week 3 being the most carnage. But remember last year, through the first 3 weeks, 74% of the field had been eliminated. So pretty similar. We then saw last year the next 7 weeks where less than 100 entries were eliminated. Could be a similar pattern.
Survivor scares the crap out of me. I mean, you're done. 1 week, you're done. Unless you've got several entries and a lot of teams on those entries, you're finished.
And we don't want them to feel like $1,000 wasted.
You know, you lose, but you gotta get lucky.
It's unfortunately just the nature of the game.
I got kicked out on VSiN last year.
I had a brush with death. I went to the hospital feeling bad. The next thing you know, I'm laying in intensive care. They're going, can we get you some clergy? I said, no, you give me some doctors with more optimism. It felt kind of like almost losing Survivor a couple years ago.
Ooh, bringing back painful memories over here. Let's see. So we got through Christmas, said, okay, Ravens are 13.5-point favorites, and they lost outright. It was so bad that you almost couldn't even be upset. You knew it was the right pick, wrong result. And as a gambler, sometimes you just have to let those go.
I mean, I've known a guy 4 years in a row now, been in the last 20 and hasn't seen a dollar. And so that's kind of the downside of that contest. Nobody wants to hear you were top 20.
I think if people can survive to Thanksgiving, it's a little different this year, because I think you have 2 viable choices on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think Dallas over the Commanders is a viable choice, although people will tell their Survivor tales how they lost on Thanksgiving with Dallas since we've had this contest 2 out of 3 years. I think you just need to try to advance to Thanksgiving and then go from there.
So, Circa Survivor came to a bitter end for me. Unfortunately, so we're up here to reflect. I think this is a good opportunity, place to clear your mind maybe a little bit, but blame it on the Jags. I feel like every year, like somebody loses in a bitter, awful way on Jacksonville, and this year it was myself and far too many other people. Story of my life. And I didn't use San Francisco that week because I was saving them for the next week. And then what do? Should have just gone with my gut.
Yo, we survived. We survived.
That's all I gotta say.
It was a thrill.
That's all I gotta say.
Yo. Week 1, Washington Commanders got that down. Sam Howell came through. Sam Howell some way. Week 2, took it to Buffalo. Got a Buffalo Wild win, dominant fashion. Seattle, sleepless in Seattle, no sleep loss in that game. Week 4, out to the West Coast, San Francisco dominated as well. This week was tough. Where should we take it? I'm gonna hand it down to Eric number 2 on this one. What you got for me?
We are going back home. 305. Let's go Fins.
I'll be sweating tomorrow. I don't drink. I may have one tomorrow.
I think you will.
A shot at least.
Sunday football.
And here, what do we have here, ladies?
Morning ritual breakfast. We have eggs, potatoes, homemade. We are going to do very well and survive.
Most likely we'll probably be co-winners of the
That would be really good.
Take it all anyway.
I went on Price is Right, and I spun the wheel and won the high number, and then got to the Showcase Showdown. And unfortunately, I did not win the Showcase Showdown. I was really upset that I did not win because I wanted the car. But I'll be able to buy a few cars when I win this, so that'll be better. Icing on the cake.
Woo! Not doing it all.
In terms of my time with Survivor, I did last 4 weeks, which was awesome. I think one of the big lessons that I learned is preseason definitely helped me. I can say 100%. It gave me the context I needed for a number of the teams that I was watching through the first 3 weeks. And then week 4 came, and it was one of those things where you have to plan for a team to have a totally off game. You know, they're athletes. You have one person that might be off, the entire team itself. But in week 4, the differentiator for me was the Steelers just didn't have it together.
It's NFL Sunday, you know, it's week 6 of NFL. Obviously, you know, it's temperatures are cooling off a little bit, but it's still a beautiful day out here. You know, 90 degrees. This stuff we confiscate, we got pumpkin seeds, we got breath mints, a whole bottle. Then we got the miniature version of that, mace, a lot of marijuana products in here. We kind of have to ruin their fun a little bit, but they still have a good time, you know. They can still drink, they can still have fun, still gamble.
We had a really nice client come in, and he spent about 60 grand in champagne, and
6-2 or 6-0?
6-0. It was a lot. It was a lot. Let's just say it was a win for Stadium Swim. It was a win for Stadium Swim. A win for Derek.
I love being from Las Vegas, and you know, I grew up and played sports here, fortunate to work in sports here, but my dad, my mom, both of them, my dad played baseball at Western High School before he got drafted into the MLB, and my mom was an elite gymnast back in the day, and she still coaches here. My brother played football here at Palo Verde High School, and you know, it's just something that means a lot to us, and it's really, really special to see how much sports have blown up here. I never thought I could work here, ever. And now I can't imagine working anywhere else.
I love Nevada. I loved Vegas. I was able to move an investment portfolio that I run out here. I've always thought Vegas could be a tremendous market for professional sports.
Well, as a player, Vegas is a great place to be because it's new, it's exciting, and then also we're a great vacation destination for other teams.
We always wanted to get into the sports betting business.
Sports betting is on everybody's mind all the time. We have become a sports mecca as this town has grown over the past decade, and major league sports have come in. Everybody, in fact, my husband will bet on cockroaches on the floor. It doesn't matter. Everybody likes to bet. Everybody likes an over and an under.
Yeah, for better or worse, sports betting has been a really big part of my life. My grandpa, actually, back in the day, he was setting lines at the Santa Anita, at the Rose Bowl, and if you were to tell him now, he's no longer with us, if you were to tell him now what this city has become, and that we have an NFL team here, that we will be hosting a Super Bowl in Las Vegas, it's really, really, really cool.
And during March Madness, saw people coming up, and it was during the game, people were betting like at every time there was a commercial break. And new lines were being set. And this was really my first involvement with in-game betting. And I thought, holy smokes, the interest level has just skyrocketed. And then the real big thing happened, is you could start betting on your phone. I think now we're seeing it more than ever, as more and more states are allowing legalize sports betting.
Man, when I first came out here a few years ago, at that time I didn't realize that gambling was going to be okay for the NFL. So I kind of had a little pushback. But now I see that it's okay. I don't frown on it as much as I used to, because I'm old school. If I thought you was betting on our team, I'd kill you.
There's just so much more demand to watch live television, for all of us to be entertained at that moment.
There's something about sports fans that regardless of what walk of life you're from, there's a unity whenever we're in the same place, watching the same thing and hoping for a particular outcome.
It's NFL Week 6. For Survivor, we rolled with the Rams this week, but after I saved our team last week, they wanted to roll with Washington. I said, no, absolutely not. The Bears will break their losing streak and come out with the win.
Because who was going to use the Bears in the Survivor contest? They were playing Arizona. Small favorites. Using the Thursday game allows you to actually enjoy your weekend.
And the Bears did break their losing streak, come out with the win, so I saved us for another week. Surprise, surprise, the Rams are the most picked team today for Week 6.
Me and my boy are at odds for our pick. Him as a Ravens fan, and me thinking going LA Rams. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so we have one Ram. And that's it. Wow. One Ram. That's it. Rams it is.
There's some potential for some carnage. 86% of the entries are on the top 3 selections, with the Rams at home over Arizona as the top selection. We also have Miami at home over Carolina, who's winless to this point, and Buffalo playing a banged-up New York Giants team on Sunday night.
And then when you look at the schedule, you're either going to be playing the Rams this week or you're playing them next week against the Steelers. Doesn't really see, you know, it's just when you look at the map and you look at the grid, you just can't really see where else you're going to take them. It's either going to be Week 6 or Week 7 on the Rams, and the way they've been playing, they want to play them right now.
It is 80% of the contestants on the Rams, Dolphins, and Bills. Dolphins scared a little bit early, but 14 points down and then just went cruising after that.
Yeah, they came rolling back, able to get the easy victory in that spot. We got close to 42% of the pool on the Rams. Right now, they are up just 1 score late into the third quarter. Last time we had over 40% of the pool, Week 3, Jacksonville. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, seriously, but you do have Cooper Kupp, you have the magic there. Bills a little bit later this evening as well, 20.8% of the people on them. Chiefs already home with 84 contestants on those guys. Of course, the Ravens win earlier with 34. We did lose 13 with the 49ers big upset today.
Yeah, just 0.7% of the pool dropped out, though. It's been a pretty quiet couple weeks here after a very, very rough Week 3. But entries now worth $5,000 a piece in equity because of how many people did drop out early in the season.
It's a good week. We had 99 problems. Aaron Donald was at 1.
I've been doing this in this city for over 15 years now, and now it's just part of my daily routine here. So it's just here to make you guys have a good time.
I think one of the key things about Circa Survivor is you got to know when to hedge.
A hedge bet always conflicts in at least some way, shape, or form, thus creating multiple outcomes by which a loss can be minimized or a profit can be guaranteed.
When do you hedge? And you know, and where does that come apparent to you, making your Survivor selections?
You know, ordinarily you'd think in Week 7, Buffalo would be the top choice, but I think it's like 30% at Buffalo available.
And they've already used it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I've had partners in the past that choose to hedge. Back in the day on Twitter, I used to have a certain saying about hedging, and so I've really had to try to stick to that. The more politically correct one is hedging is for gardeners. Now it's completely different. If you're sitting here week 18, you've gotten through the double Thanksgiving, you've gotten through the double Christmas, and you're sitting here at Circa, that's a whole nother argument. But for me personally, I've never gotten far enough to where I felt like I needed to hedge.
You know, let's say the Giants are plus 200 today or whatever they were. $5,000 on the Giants. Okay, they win today, you have 10,000, but you're out of the contest. So people are basically hedging, thinking my entry's worth 15,000. So if I'm out today, I want to at least make that. If I don't make that, maybe I sell my entry next week. And this is the kind of the mindset of hedging this early in the contest.
What we have found is that folks either don't hedge till the very last week and then scramble frantically for money and how do I get all this money down, or even more amusing, they don't hedge at all and they just run into the side of a mountain, or the advice would be wait several more weeks and then really do the planning.
Whether you are hedging your bets or not, there are a lot of different strategies when it comes to picking teams in Survivor.
Gil, you wouldn't believe if you Google Survivor contest strategy.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't believe. I thought maybe there'd be an article or two. There's 50 articles.
Oh, sure.
And by the way,
yeah,
I found some unbelievable articles just by Googling those 3 words.
Yeah.
There's some game theory coming into play here, because you start to look and these entries come out and people are going, well, why does someone have the Bears? Why does someone have the Vikings? Why is there a couple people on the Patriots or Texans or Saints? These are guys with multiple entries that are guaranteeing themselves to move along, right? They're playing both sides of a game, and it's because there's still people with 8, 9, 10 entries available out there.
Yeah, when you're sitting there with 8 or more entries and you have the opportunity to take 2 teams that you would never use in another scenario and be able to get through a difficult week, it allows you to try and hope that 40% drops out with the Rams. You're in a great spot because you just got through with one of your 2 entries there on either the Bears or the Vikings.
The furthest I ever got in Survivor was in a year where there happened to be 2 or 3 teams that were just god-awful. So I think if all of us have the fortune of that, and we don't know that in advance, but if it becomes apparent, if it reveals itself that a team or teams are going to be truly awful, then there's probably no safer strategy than picking on that team time and time again. Now, that very year, I ended up picking on the Jets time and time again, like so many did, and then in the very end, 3 weeks before the end, the Jets beat the Rams. The Rams were a 17-point favorite. So nothing is certain.
The underdog teams actually took out a number of the higher-ranking teams in week 3 that no one saw coming. They're just not better teams overall. However, that I think is sometimes a strategy in itself.
It's a fine line between picking the strongest team or picking the team that's going against the weakest team. A lot of people's strategy, I've talked to players that started the last week. They started week 20 and worked backwards to week 1, and they want to see who they've got left. Other players are like, let me survive this week, no pun intended, and then we'll figure out next week how it comes.
So now you have to start to really think, okay, who am I saving for Thanksgiving? I think it's a little early to start thinking about Christmas. You got to get to Christmas. Now you need to have at least 1 team available, ideally 2. If you can keep 2 available, hopefully not playing each other, then you're good. And the Dallas, if you didn't go down with Dallas early, you're saving Dallas for Thanksgiving.
I honestly thought about even continuing to bet against the Panthers. They were lower ranking teams for most, but I didn't want that to be my strategy continuing to move forward. And looking back on it now, maybe that was the way to go. Maybe that's what will continue to keep other teams in the contest. I don't know.
When you go to hit that submit button or go to print that ticket on the kiosk, you got to make sure that you know exactly what you're choosing, why you're choosing it, and you feel comfortable with your decisions because you don't have the ability to go back and change it.
You get all kind of different dynamics in the contest with groups, with individuals, picks. It gets very, very fun. At the same time, the stress level goes up just a little.
Rams, that was a little too stressful today. My $9 million pick, week 6, but way to pull it out.
I like that score. It was stressful, but they got it done. Sunday night football is time. Pardon me, have to go change.
Barkley's back. The goal was 20 cigars. 1 for every week that I survived. Hey, a win is a win. On to week 7.
Week 7 is brutal. Brutal! Brutal. So many teams on bye week. Looking at our options, this was really a risky pick, and I'm not sure why we're doing it, but here we are. Let's go, Lamar. Show me something, Lamar.
Week 7, Survivor. Go Seattle!
Oh! Ball tip throw. Oh, man. Score now. Don't let the clock run out.
Stress levels are going up.
I saw it with 7-0. I saw it with 14-0, 21, 28, 35, and I'm like, oh, thank God, what a breeze of a Sunday.
Welcome to my kitchen at Barry's Downtown Prime and Circa Hotel. I'm going to show you the masterpiece brain of the entire kitchen. Come on, check it out. We're going to look at the grill. Check this out. Got some beautiful steaks right on the grill. Come on. This is where all the magic happens. We love cooking. That's what we do.
Week 8, week 9, no, hardly anybody drops off. And then you get to week 10. You think you know, you don't know, and you never will. I love that line in the book. I've been using it for 20 years. Use it for the Survivor. Just when you think you know, you go with the Bengals against the Texans, and you don't know. You know you're out. That's the bad part about all of it.
Obviously, I was predicted to win the whole thing.
It's going to be a tsunami of money coming right at me. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be fantastic, but it's highly predictable.
Clearly, and the fake news Jaguars in week 3 took us down.
All right, that ain't good for me.
Actually eliminated us because Jacksonville stinks. But as I've continued to follow the picks that I had laid out, as we talked about when we just got signed up, that I would still be in the entire pool with Detroit this week at a 7.5-point favorite over the Bears. So if you look at it, I'm not going to win, obviously, because of Jacksonville. But I had an excellent plan in place. I had a great plan to win. And that gives me a lot of momentum because I think next year when I get back into it again, I'm certainly in a position to probably win the whole thing next year, is my guess.
All right, week 10, you've made it. What do? Raise a glass. Congratulations. L'chaim, all of it, whatever you need. Congratulations, toast to you. Guess what that means? Another 10 weeks.
Week 10 marks the midpoint in this 20-week Survivor season in the books. Major turmoil in Week 10 with half of the remaining entries eliminated. At the mid-season point now, we are now down to only 609 contestants left. That's only 7% of the original entries.
Week 10 got knocked out. Cincinnati. Thursday night, Cincinnati loses. Couldn't happen to a better team. Can't believe it.
Unfortunately, we took the loss in Circa Survivor, but with the Houston Texans.
Definitely the name "This Is the Year" is being thrown out because it was not. So we'll have to rename Team Stormy and Rich. But yeah, we're gonna do it again. Obviously, it has such a fun, addicting quality to it, and the opportunity to still be that last entry. And how can you not?
Thanks a lot, Circa. I'll be back next year and keep picking my teams for the rest of the season. And look forward to next year. Thanks a lot.
Unfortunately, we are not survivors this year. And with that said,
so this was certainly my first time doing anything like the Survivor. If I'm thinking about 2024, I would say preseason, you're still going to catch me in Circa. You're still going to catch me looking at the latest players, who's making the rosters, and I'm going to be studying all of the games and the seasons prior to, particularly this season. You know, what happened, what made the difference, you know, what changes are each of these teams looking forward to, and really considering, you know, the mid-tier teams that nobody believes are going to really make anything happen or really shake anything up in any of the games.
So if we both do it next year, we can do it together, we do it separately?
No.
Separate!
Are you kidding me? Can you imagine? Just walk me through this here, week to week, trying to sort out an NFL pick with your wife. That would be absolutely unbearable. No, we'd have our own, it's our own thing. We'll both have our own entries. She can pick whoever she wants. Yep. I'm gonna pick who I want. We could barely agree on where to go to dinner. Can you imagine trying to agree on whether we take the Bengals or the Bills at a given week? God, no, I'm out. Forget that.
Absolutely separate. It's more fun that way. We like to compete against each other.
And when people get knocked out, they can't wait to get back in. I mean, we have so many people clamoring saying, can't we have a survivor like that starts in week 5 for everybody that got knocked out in like a consolation survivor? It's amazing. Nobody walks away saying, I'm never getting in this contest again.
See you next year.
This is real money now.
I'm like, okay, it is real. Like, I'm actually closer to the $9 million than I thought.
You make it to Thanksgiving, that's when it gets real. And this week it's real.
I don't need to win 10 times. I only need to win 1 time.
I just lost on Washington throwing 18 interceptions.
10 weeks down, 10 weeks to go. The quest for $9.2 million continues.